Hey guys and gals, currently it is April 4th, 2020 and I'm doing another bike ride, but this time I'm actually visiting my good friend Peter, and this is going to be an excursion kind of video, going outside of the usual area, so to speak. We're heading up to basically Finch area. Now today's weather was a cool 11 degrees Celsius. It was nice enough for a bike ride, not too cold where the wind was a little frigid, but it wasn't warm enough to take off a sweater or a light active long sleeve. So today we're just heading over, like I said, to my friend Peter's place, and in COVID-19 times it's very interesting because this is the first time we're going to be seeing each other in a long period of time. Oh yeah, I'm doing a real illegal move right here. I kind of wanted to see how fast I can get to his place and then how fast it would take me to get back home. Usually I would be normally taking, let's say, a TTC ride, whether it was subway and bus going to Finch and then the 36 bus going over west. Or I would be taking the 98 bus from Shepherd, and it would take me more or less to the same area. And in these cases, usually it'd be about 10 minutes to get to Finch, and if the bus is right there, maybe another 10 minutes to get to his place, at the most, depending on traffic. And then if I was to wait for a 98 bus from Shepherd, it would be maybe a 30-minute wait, but if the bus was right there, it could be as little as 15 minutes, depending on how many people are on the bus, because there's a lot of stops. So I wanted to see exactly how long it would take, and that's why I was kind of boogieing it. I was feeling very confident during this ride because all the previous rides I was doing was really just trying to get myself back into, so to speak, a normality of riding a bike normally. It's been a real struggle, let me tell you. You guys all know, if you've been keeping up with all the cycling videos or walking time lapses, it's just one of those things where you just got to keep doing a little something every day, and eventually you can get close to your goal, or at least hit the mark. And fortunately for me right now, I'm actually quite confident in where I'm at. I know I'm still a little ways away from where I want to be, but I know that I just have to keep pushing myself a little bit more and I'll get there. Now over here I decided to actually go through a few little side streets, because no point in going all the way up to Finch when, one, it's a huge uphill, and then go west when I can go diagonally. So for me, this was the smartest move. Also pretty much the easiest because it's mostly flat, to be fair. Yeah, the car I was kind of stuck behind earlier was a real bugger. The guy wasn't sure what he was doing, and he could have gone closer to the curb, but he did not. I don't know why people are like this. But anywho, for me, I wanted to go diagonally. That way, one, I don't have to worry too much about elevation. Two, it's the most direct route. And three, on a bike, there's a pathway that I'm actually going to be able to go through. It's a walking / cycling trail, but it's one of those that goes beeline straight towards more or less his neck of the woods. So for me, it was perfect. I completely forgot about it actually until I took a look on a map, and well, a lot of the updates lately on Google Maps have been helpful, and if you got the local cycling map for Toronto, they are still updating it every single week. But the current one that I have, that's a paper copy, that one's pretty good with locations for a lot of different trails. Right over here is actually where the trail would be starting. Onboard GPS. For me, I actually was quite happy with figuring it out, because for me, normally speaking, I would have probably just gone up probably the whole thing of Doris, and then I would have just cut over. But Finch right now is just crazy with traffic. You think it wouldn't be, but I mean, even during COVID times, people are just driving like crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, you do have to drive your car if you have one, because if you don't, then Tire pressure is going to be off, fuel is going to be low, everything else. One thing though I do like about trails, whether it is strictly bike lane trails or bike and walking trails, is it tends to be a whole lot smoother going through them than if I was to be on the roads. Because as you saw earlier, the roads were just terrible. And when I go back on the road from over here at this community center, you're going to be seeing the roads again, and they're not fun. I mean, even though this bike is more of a commuter bike and it has some suspension in the front, and I mean barely any. I mean, I don't know what I did, but the front suspension like only moves maybe an inch at the most. But like, it's just one of those things where these roads are tough on bikes. Motorcycles, I feel bad for motorcyclists. I mean, you know, you hit a bump, you fly in a pothole. And then regular cars, sometimes you see a lot of them have to be serviced all the time, especially sports cars because they're really low to the ground. Have for wheel alignment. I know my dad's done that more than a few times in the last few years, so it's not a fun thing to do, especially when you have a nice car, because it costs a lot more money. And over here I saw there was no cars right at this moment, so I decided to head over a little bit. I shouldn't have actually been on all the way on the right hand side on the curb, because as you can see there's so much rubble. I mean, really, that was not fun on the butt. My butt was sore by the end of this whole ride. That's why I decided to go onto the sidewalk. Lately, actually, I've been riding on Finch for a little bit, and mostly night drives, so a little bit less cars. I just put my bike light on in the rear, and I just ride in the middle lane of the right-hand lane, the turning lane. That way, I don't have to worry about the bumps as much. Right over here, I'm just turning into go see my friend in his neighborhood, and I'm just going to give him a call so that way when I get to his place, he'll be at the front door and we could just chat for a bit. Whew. 20 kilometers to 25 kilometers an hour. How you been anyways?
Dude, I'm tired, man. I'm so sick.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I'm just recovering. I've just been sleeping. Today's my last day of the last tomorrow I'm kind of dude, I'm impressed with going so fast. That is very impressive. What route did you take? Did you take the Sunlap route?
I took no. Hey, you know what? How about I give you 30 for now, and then
screw you. I'll
you find out what the change is.
Other 20, boy. I will take 40. Another 20. Okay, I'll pick it up after.
Yeah, you pull it so fast you drop it. Oh, so long as
another 10. Alright, man. Catch you later, huh?
Yeah. Hey. What is it? Right now there's a whole order thing or whatever, so like, but be careful, alright?
You owe me 10.
Let me know the change. So, Peter just gave me back my thing that he ordered from Amazon, so my mom would not find out. Now I'm just gonna head back. I'll see you guys. And I am now back on the road again. And this time I wanted to do a similar route, but I was, like I said, trying to aim for kind of the quickest time I could. Trying to be as good as I could with things. I know the light just turned red right there, but like just whizzed by because that is, well, no cars, so it wasn't as big of a deal. If there was a car, I would have stopped, or I would have turned into the next lane. And I would just continue down the road because that would kind of lead me around the same area, just a little bit slower. Which, personally, I don't mind, because if it was that case, then that is what it is. Over here, actually, I used to do a lot of skateboarding. back when I was hanging out with my old friend Brandon. Those were some really, really good times back in high school. Over here was a little more bumpy than I was expecting, but you know,
pretty bumpy.
Grass at this time of year is really tough.
Cushion the blow, but
it's almost like kicking a rock. Definitely not a fun thing to do. But yeah, just taking the paths. At this point, you can see there's a few more people on these paths, so it was one of those things where I just had to keep a little bit away and try to move as quick as I could. Sometimes I would have to slow down a little bit more. Like the people way up ahead right now, I would have to actually slow down a bit. Yeah, back on the road, and this time I wanted to go a bit on Tamworth Road, which I normally do not like going on, even with a car, because this road is notorious for having really, really, really reckless drivers. I mean, I've once walked by, no, not even once, hundreds of times walked by this road, and you just see people flying through. And well, for me, it was one of those things where on a bike, you're definitely not going as fast as a normal car, and quite frankly, if everyone's speeding up like crazy, then well, you're going to be getting flown by. Anywho, I made my way through there, and I actually made my way over to St. Edward's Catholic Church, which is my church that I go to. It's been a long time. I do regret it, and it's kind of sad because now I can't go because of COVID going on. But I mean, this is a church that I grew up in, and definitely had a lot of memories here.
Clocked out 30.
And the parking lot, let me tell you, is very smooth for a bike. Very nice to go through. Now I'm just making my way back to Young area, and then I want to probably go back down on Doris because that's a lot better than Young Street. Young is not good because of, well, too many cars, and also the potholes and rough patches are just, oh my gosh, they're ridiculous. I mean, I really don't understand. I mean, I can understand why they don't do it all the time to get it fixed, because there's so much traffic going through there, like even now, all the time. But it is one of those things where, I mean, they gotta fix it. They need to fix it. It's not even like a want. We need it fixed. Please, City of Toronto. Like, look at here. I'm just trying to dodge all this stuff. And you see this all the time, no matter where you are in the city. I mean, well, some areas of the city you will see, like, getting a little bit better with it. But, like, I mean, you could just see all this. I'm trying to dodge debris. Looking in my side mirror, just making sure a car isn't going to hit me from behind. I mean, it's just like just a battle of looking at everything around you. I mean, it's like almost having eyes in the back of your head, side of your head, everywhere. I was just trying to get my way back to Doris as fast as I could, keeping up with traffic. There I was just trying to check to see about my light. Sometimes I find when I turn it on, because it has a 3 bursts light, so there's high, medium, and low. Sometimes if you click it a second time, it just brings it to a medium or a low setting, and it's not off. And for me, I like to only use my light when it's necessary. Flashing cars is one of the necessary things I think that you need as a cyclist, because sometimes cars, even when you think you're visible, somehow they just don't see you because they're just not paying attention. And for me, that's quite terrible. I mean, I remember when I first started driving a car, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was, a couple times I didn't look for pedestrians, and, you know, you make your turn and then you see them in front of you and you have to stop, of course, let them go through and then go. But it is one of those things where after the first time, I seriously pay attention for it. And the second time that it actually happened, which was the only other time, was a jaywalker who ran in between 2 trucks, which then ended up being in front of me. And I mean, you know, I didn't hit the person, but it was still one of those things where they were seriously in the wrong. Now, if you're going to jaywalk, at least do it properly, all right? Anywho, I'd like to say thank you all for watching one of my cycling videos. I hope you all like the text in the bottom left-hand corner now. I like the coloring, and I like how it's off to the side now, just because it looks a little bit more crisp, I find. Let me know if you think that it's a nice idea, or if there's something you might suggest for making my videos a little better. I'm up for all suggestions. But thank you guys and gals for watching my video again, and have yourself a great day.